Hi everyone, it's Cal. Thanks for being here. Today I want to talk about Dark Night of the Soul and the Emptiness. And for those of you that don't know me, I come on and talk about the Kundalini and all things associated with it. So welcome if you're new. Thank you for your questions. They're fabulous and they really help others. And of course, that's what we're here to do together as a team. So another good question regarding phases of the Kundalini, Dark Night of the Soul, and Emptiness. So these are so important because they all relate to the Kundalini. So I'm going to touch on them here right now. The phases of the Kundalini. So the phases of the Kundalini are denoted by the energetic centers, which any chakra book can give you. The energetic centers are called chakras, which means spinning wheels, but really they are planets forming within your body because you are a conductor, you are a solar building system, and you mimic the solar system. In fact, you're identical to it. And I talk about this and I show you how on the webinar. So if you're interested, after this video, just click in the description box below for the link. The website doesn't really do it justice, but you'll find it fascinating and it's all about you, which is the most important. So again, the phases of the Kundalini can be denoted energetically by any chakra book, which means the chakra book is going to tell you energetically what is important at each energy center level. So at each center, where a planetary center of your being, you are going to have a certain amount of vibratory energy that needs to be met in order to have this center glowing, resonating, and connecting to the center above and below it. Now, sometimes you can develop one center and not develop another or not go to another. That can happen. But if you're working on the Kundalini, you kind of want to be in balance so that everything merges together and we're all working on ourselves, whether we're aware of it or not. And I would highly suggest taking a look at that or doing some research online. Also, when it comes to illness, if you're developing illness at any of these centers, at any of these levels of your being, you can get some insight from a chakra book that tells you what vibratory energy is impaired at that level. And you can work on that in your own way. And, you read the parts of the book that interest you. You got to trust yourself, what you're being pulled to. You read the parts that are of interest to you. And then you get quiet in meditation and you can sense energy blocks in your body and you can address them through looking at the chakra book, which talks about each chakra, which you can think about as being the phase of the Kundalini, but really it's not. It's talking about each energetic center, and when they are resonating on high, they join together, and then the ladder is created, the bridge to the Father, and you're able to connect to the Mother to get the power that you need. Now, if you're talking about the whole process of the Kundalini, the phases, I have a video and you've probably seen it. I don't know if you've seen it, but I think I'll throw it in the description box below if you're talking about what happens if you're sort of pressure cooking the Kundalini like I did. So I'll link that below in case that's what you're alluding to. You wanted to know about Dark Night of the Soul, and I have to tell you my entire life has pretty much been Dark Night of the Soul. And when it has you in its vortex, the mind computes it as confusion, okay? So you're being held in a sort of a confused state, your soul, which is your developing mind, your awareness, even though it has deep intelligence within it. And the only way you're aware of this intelligence is through subtle feelings. So when the developing mind is immersed in this confusion, it cannot see the way forward. So that's the darkness. And when it cannot see the way forward, it feels disempowered. But really, the mind's not calling the shots anyways. Okay, your deeper self is. So mind's going in the wrong direction. Deeper self is having a total check with you. Okay, we're changing the train tracks. Now you're going to go here. Mind can't see it. Mind is, the baby, right? And it's confused. You have to trust your center. You have to allow it to come forward, and it's not going to come forward and say, hey, Cal, go down to 42nd Street. You'll see a big building. Go to the second floor and ask this guy for whatever, a new job in this department. No, it's not going to work like that, because this is the mother force that's talking to you. And she takes you one step and you get there. Then she takes you to the next step and you get there. And then she takes you to the next step and you get there. And then finally you arrive, but you never really arrive. You just arrive. The journey keeps going until you're completely done. And we're never done. So what has brought you to the dark night of the soul usually is divine discontent. And it's really worth addressing that or looking at that and knowing either that brought me here or maybe something else did. But usually it's divine discontent, which is your soul's way of saying, hey, the outer world is not enough. I need more. I need to follow the richness of the inner chambers, which are going to lead me to something that is going to give me joy and satisfaction. And that's why the dark night of the soul is kind of like a changeover. Okay, mind, we're taking you out of the driver's seat because, you only know how to drive down very symmetrical roads, and we're going into the inner chambers of this fascinating, all-connected entity called the mother. And you can think of it like a lotus sits on the pond, and the lotus looks just so beautiful and so gorgeous. And that's the Father's world, the world of light, where we see this beautiful lotus unfold. But underneath that lotus is an intricate root system that even botanists can't get to the bottom of. And that's the world of the mother, because you definitely know that flower is not going to even be there if it wasn't for the mother. Okay, so that flower out there is being supported by all this kind of root system that is invisible in the lake or the pond underneath. That's another reason why the mother is sometimes called the Lady of the Lake. And I don't want to get into anything else. I really want to stay right close to the things you've asked about, because they're really important. I'm really glad you asked that question. Just fantastic. I don't know why I haven't talked about any of this before, and today I'm just really touching on it briefly. So the way out of the darkness is through feeling, because this is the mother force. She is the all-knower. You must feel your way out to the destination that you cannot see. You can't put your finger on it. You can't see it until you've arrived. You can stab in the dark a bit. You might get it that way, send an email there, depending on what it is you're looking for. But usually you have to make really small incremental steps. I know this is hard. This is why it's called Dark Night of the Soul. The mind is a baby who wants the way given to him in an obvious way. But if you're going through this dark night of the soul, then the only way out is through feeling. And it's got to be a baby stepping way, so that you eventually reach the destination. Just incremental. And you really, the mind has to learn to just be patient. It has to dummy down. It has to know it's not in charge. It has to go into feeling. So the destination is usually an illumination, which is to be expressed in the Father's world. So let me say that again. The destination is usually some sort of illumination that is to be expressed in the Father's world. Again, you got to follow that fine resonance that exists throughout your body, but is concentrated in the center in order to get you there. She is intelligent emotion, which is your intuitive source for truth rather than anything you will see in the outward world, which is the world of the Father. The Father's world lacks resonance, and she is going to bring you the resonance needed to be expressed forward by yourself into the dull gray world. And the illumination really is the destination. And sometimes you need to ask the right question to her, which is, for me, it was, how can I serve? That can help. But really, the biggest thing that is going to help anyone get through the night of the dark soul is listening to your center, because that center is trying to talk to you, and that's why your mind is being dummied down. Hard place to be. I've spent years there. Years. You think 1 or 2 years is bad? Try 12, and really in darkness. So the emptiness is the next thing that you asked about. Another good question. Yeah, the emptiness, you really got to be careful with this, because the emptiness is actually a really dangerous place. When you get really deep, profound emptiness, the mother calls you to come to her, and that means take your life. This happens just sometimes when you're going super deep. She wants you to return to her, because she sees you as being done when the resonance is that deep. But this is not balanced. You need the Father aspect, the illumination, the sun. You need to stay on the planet and get stable through getting grounded, because the Kundalini is, because you're becoming a creator. And the Kundalini is also both aspects, earth and sun, mother, father. And emptiness is the mother, which needs to be balanced with the father aspect. We want to stay in this life. It is a gift, and it is hard to get into. You have to earn it. And you've earned it, and that's why you're here. So with excess of the mother, you need to do father activities, such as socializing, like going to satsangs or events that you're interested in, networking, study things you're curious about, do adventure, join a group, do something you love, but create a dramatic change so that your focus shifts out of the emptiness. I wanted to say something else about the father aspect, because you are two things. The mother is the creatrix, right? And the father is the creator. And we are becoming creators, but we have the mother aspect within us, within our centers. So we go here to find the direction for our creative attention. We go here to find direction when we're in darkness. We go here to find direction to bring us joys and feelings of fulfillment. And a lot of the times, the emptiness is part of the dark night, but the emptiness is more of a feeling, right? Whereas the dark night is confusion. The emptiness is actually a feeling of total emptiness. It is a feeling of total emptiness. So for me, when I made the shift, I chose adventure, and I changed countries and language because I needed a big shift. because the emptiness was going to take me. And it was really going to take me. I was in a very, very dangerous place. So this is a very good question that you've asked. And once I made that big shift, I worked on creating balance through nutrition and strength training and finding focus and creating positive change, because at sometimes when you get really, really into the emptiness, she can swallow you up. And again, you're here to become a creator. She's the creatrix. He's the creator. You're coming here to mimic his ability to create, even though you have the two forces in you. And you can create anything by shifting your focus. So listening to the center, shifting the focus. I'd say when you hit the real deep emptiness, that's kind of what needs to happen. But that's just my experience. I don't really know about other people's experiences. There might be different ways, so please let me know. Also, I think I might have mentioned this, I can't remember. I'm doing a webinar on the beauty of you. And it talks about how you relate to everything. And I'll talk about the creative forces inside of you, etc. And it's really ultimately about health, the power of health. But it talks about it in more of a spiritual way. So if you're interested in your origins and your future, please join me on this webinar. You can take a look at it by clicking on the link in the description. Other than that, I hope I answered that question on emptiness. Please let me know if you have any other questions around this. It was, yeah, it's definitely a topic within the realm of Kundalini, no doubt about it. Both Dark Night of the Soul and the emptiness. The emptiness is so profound, and not to mention the phases of the Kundalini. Oh, yeah, I'm going to link that Kundalini video in the description box for you too. If it's not answering your questions, go ahead and ask another one. I hope you got something out of this. I hope things were made a little bit more clear. Thanks for being here. Look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.